Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. Welcome to TED News for You. I'm your host, Ted, and I hope you're all doing well. And I want to welcome you all to today's podcast. Today, we're going to talk about something fun. And this is a great trip that I had with my family. And I hope that if you decide to take a trip to Florida and visit Universal Studios, that I can give you some pointers uh, that I researched on my own and things that I thought were helpful, and then also give you some recommendations of things to do. So here we go. We're going to do the top 10 recommendations for visiting Universal Studios Florida. Also, check out some of my other podcasts. Recently just finished a podcast with my top 10 video games of all time. And then my other podcasts included the top 10 family films of all time that you can watch with your kids. So I've got a couple others coming up. We've got talking about comic books. We're going to talk a little bit about Batman. And then I'm also going to talk about working out at home and versus working out at the gym. I actually had a chance to, during COVID, get myself a home gym. And believe it or not, best shape of my life was working out at home, not at a gym. So I'll give you some pointers and things that you can do for that. But I'm also going to be talking about in the future here, understanding senior care. I've been working in senior care for almost 15 years now. So I'm going to give some pointers about that. But enjoy this podcast today. We're going to talk about Universal Studios Florida. So first thing I want to recommend before you visit is to check out YouTube, get yourself some information regarding the parks. There is a brand new park. The Epic Park opens up this year. It's going to open up in the summer, and it's going to be completely different from the Universal Studios and the Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. It's going to be actually, I believe it's over 700 acres, and it's going to be bigger than the other two parks combined. So if you're visiting Florida this summer, I recommend checking out Universal Studios and the Islands of Adventure parks, because maybe everybody's going to be at Epic this year. So my first recommendation, and this was my number one thing we were going to do when we went to the Universal Studios park, was to ride the ET ride. This ride came out in 1990. It's based off of the Steven Spielberg E.T. the Extraterrestrial from the 1982 film. And you are flying in a bicycle chase scene from the film, and it feels like you're really in the movie. It's it's the oldest ride at the park. It's the only original ride at the park. And I have a photograph of my brother and myself when we were not but 8, 9 years old, taking a photo with E.T. in the bicycle, and the both of us were pedaling with E.T. on the back. So we took my girls in 2023, and we had a version of a picture done for the girls that resembled a lot of the original photograph that I took with my brother some 30 years ago now. Can't believe I'm saying that, but anyway, a couple ways to purchase tickets. The way that we purchased tickets for this was we went through Costco. So Costco has a travel portion of their main website, and we ended up choosing the Mardi Gras package. I believe now the package that I saw, I believe it ran around $2,500, but it included your hotel for the entire stay, and I think we actually had an additional day, so that included 6 days. And then check this out: four park hopper tickets for each person. Yeah, I did not say that. I did not get that wrong here. 4 park hopper tickets for each person. So for $2,500, I think it was a pretty good deal. And then Costco also gives you some cash back. So what are the perks of using the getting a hotel room with the Universal? Well, the biggest perk is you're going to be able to go to the park about an hour earlier than everyone else. So a lot of times when you get in, you're going to go straight to the uh, Harry Potter world or Harry Potter theme in the park. You'll either have a chance to ride Escape from Gringotts, Hagrid's motorbike, which I actually recommend. If you're going to the early access to get into the park, go straight to the Hagrid's motorbike because the wait times were usually around 3 hours. The first day we went straight to it. We actually we got to the entrance a little bit earlier, so we were closer to the front of the park, but we ended up riding the Hagrid's motorbike in like 20 or 30 minutes. The second time we went, we were maybe 10, 20 feet further back from the entrance of the park, and we waited like an hour and a half. So it makes a big difference. I recommend getting to the park early, bring food with you. Get muffins or something like that, and just eat while you're standing in line. And then once the doors open, you can get back to the back of the park, start enjoying the Harry Potter experience. There's going to be two different versions of the Harry Potter world. In the Islands of Adventure, you're going to have the Hogwarts school. And so everything looks very snowy. It's like a snowy world, but it's little cottages and whatnot. And if you go to the Universal Park, you're going to have Hogsmeade. So I actually prefer the Hogsmeade. I thought that the setup there was a little more appealing, but both parks are absolutely awesome. And you're going to have a ton of fun if you love Harry Potter. I recommend, this is my third recommendation here. So, third recommendation is to buy a wand at the Ollivanders and enjoy the Harry Potter experience. So, there's all these different places, and they'll have little symbols to let you know what spell to perform, and then magically things happen. And the kids love it, adults love it too. There's the Ollivander's experience where you can go in and they're going to pick out someone to get their wand, and it's a nice show. But my kids both ended up getting wands, and then I believe it's for every $300 you spend, you can get they have specialty wands that they are not the magic wands that you can perform all of the magic with, but to me they're more of like a collectible version of the wands. And I believe the one we ended up getting two because I didn't know we were going to spend that much money and stuff. So but we got Ginny Weasley's, and we got one more. I can't remember who the other person was, but that experience is a ton of fun. And while you're experiencing the Harry Potter experience, I recommend having the butterbeer. And I believe there's three different versions. There's an ice cream version, there's the coffee version, and there's just a regular drink version. My favorite version was the coffee. I thought it was it's super sweet, and you can find versions of how to make it online, but trust me, it doesn't taste nearly as good as it does when you're having it at the park. So I definitely recommend the butterbeer. Which brings me into the next recommendation. Number 4, eat at the Mythos Restaurant. To me, that was the classiest restaurant there was. You have to get a reservation. Make sure you do that beforehand. Find out what days you're going to be at the parks. And then I would definitely recommend going to the Mythos Restaurant. I also recommend Three Broomsticks and the Leaky Cauldron. The Leaky Cauldron is I believe that's in Hogsmeade. And it looks very similar to something like you would have seen in the film. So also pay attention to the sign with the witch. So I believe there's it's dripping, and you'll notice, you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. But I definitely recommend Mythos. It was very upscale for, to me, a theme park, and the food was great. But I also recommend probably Leaky Cauldron as well. Next, number 5, make sure you ride the Hogwarts Express. It's It's the train from the Harry Potter world, and it takes you from both parks. I recommend that you actually ride the train to both ways, both parks, because the experience is absolutely different on each ride. And I'm not going to say personally which experience I like the best, but I think it, to each his own. But the train experience is really cool. I believe when you start to go into the train at Hogsmeade, there's a portion right before you get into the actual train station. If you stand back, you stand back before you go through the wall. There's like a 3D version of that you can see, and you can actually watch people like walking through the wall. So a lot of people may miss that, but just check that out before you go into the actual train station. That's something that a lot of people haven't really talked about recommending, but you don't know it till you get there, and it's a ton of fun. Number 6 here is plan to budget for food expenses. So even though we paid $2,500, the food's really expensive, so you got to make sure you budget for that. I would actually probably put another $1,000 aside just to budget for food, and then I would probably put another $600 to $1,000 to budget for your merchandise. I will say this: we bought so many things the first time we went to Universal that probably everything that we have is coming back for the second visit. What kind of merchandise can you purchase there? Well, if you go to like Dr. Seuss Land, they have Dr. Seuss shirts where you can be like thing one, and then thing two's pointing at you, so you can get shirts where if you have couples or whatnot, you can get matching shirts, and they're themed. They're really funny. I ended up getting a T-Rex shirt that says like missing T-Rex, and it's like a missing dog poster, but it's for a T-Rex. Lots of different things that are going to make you want to spend a lot of money, and it's okay. It's if this is going to be the trip to take, this is the trip to take, and you have to enjoy yourself, and you can't worry so much about it. But I also want to say that we went during the Mardi Gras season, and the Mardi Gras season includes around 22 kiosks from all around the world. And we ended up staying in the hotel we stayed at was the Cabana. The Cabana, it's like you're in a 1950s like Miami hotel. And when you walk in, you see the seating area where you can have dinner and lunch and whatnot has commercials from the 1950s. And then they have kiosks inside of the hotel. Some of those kiosks are going to include like pizza, Americana. But my wife being Brazilian, they did have a Brazilian kiosk there. So we had Brazilian food, and just randomly there at the hotel. So there's a lot to do there. And we did go in March. So I will say that the pools were very cold. Couple days it was between 45 and 50 when you got up in the morning, and then in the afternoon it's like 70, 75, so you're burning up in the afternoon, so you got to dress accordingly as well. But definitely plan to budget for the food is can be very expensive. And I also recommend, if you get a chance, there's a very large population of Brazilians in Orlando, and there are a couple churrascos there in Orlando that are really good if you haven't had churrasco before. Number 7, make sure you bring drinks and snacks with you to the park. So we had everybody in my family had fanny packs, and in every fanny pack, everybody had at least a bottle of water and then a couple snacks. So I recommend Cliff Bars. They're pretty easy to transport, and they're pretty filling. With your water bottles, you can fill those up at the soda machines and whatnot, so they do have water there. But I recommend bring your own water and then bring a couple snacks. And they do have, you can't bring that stuff on the rides, So you're going to have areas in the park where you can go in, lockers where you can go and leave your things in there, and then you can come back later, and it's all free. So there are a couple of them where you have to pay for them, but we were able to always get something where we didn't have to pay to put our stuff in there. Um, it can be kind of a pain in the neck, but at least you've got water and things like that, and you're not paying $3 or $4 for bottled water. And trust me, over that expense over 4 or 5 days ends up being quite a bit of money. So I would definitely make sure you bring food and drinks, bring drinks and snacks. Number 8 is to plan for the rain. So I've been to Florida probably a dozen times, and I think, occasionally it does rain. So just prepare for that. It's usually pretty humid afterwards, but always just, have a cheap poncho, put that in your fanny pack, and you can buy one for $1 and just keep that with you. If not, you you could pay through the nose at the park. So trying to save you some money here. And those are some different options that you can use to save yourself some money, enjoy more of the food. Let's see, number 9. I recommend watch the shows. I think the meet and greets were great. My favorite one was Marilyn. I don't know who the lady is, but a shout out to you. You were an awesome Marilyn. Marilyn was my favorite. And then you also have the Blues Brothers. You have the team from Scooby-Doo, Betty Boot. I think you had Popeye and Olive Oil. I also recommend the Transformers meet and greet. We met all 3. So we had Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, and oh gosh, who was the other one? The bad guy. You're gonna know it. I don't know it. But it was my favorite actually was probably Bumblebee, but Megatron. Megatron to me was great too. I was actually probably disappointed with Optimus, just because you're going to see the statue of Optimus over the ride, and he's just towering. But then you see the Optimus compared to Bumblebee and Megatron. They're all the same size, but nonetheless, it's a great experience. The other one is the Velociraptor meet and greet. That is really a ton of fun. My girls got scared. My oldest child tried to act like she wasn't scared of Velociraptor, and she loves Blue from the new Jurassic Park series. So they literally, if you give them your camera on video, they'll take photos the whole time you're having the experience. So you can see kind of play by play what the entire event looked like broken up there, and it's an experience you won't forget. The last one here is just kind of a favorite rides that I recommend. I mentioned that Hagrid's motorbike is one of those rides that typically has a 3-hour wait. If you're getting to the park early, I highly recommend get right to the back of the park, ride Hagrid's motorbike. It will be an experience of a lifetime. I think there's 7 different types of accelerations that you can experience. I personally recommend riding on the motorcycle side, not in the passenger side. But we rode both. So my kids rode as in the motorcycle end, and then we switched. So and I also recommend riding it at night. The experience at night is a lot different than the experience during the day. The second is going to be the Escape from Gringotts. Escape from Gringotts takes you to the bank. I believe it's featured in the last film of Harry Potter, and not to mention the dragon is right outside on the top of the bank. And if you stick around for a while, you get a surprise from the dragon. And then once you walk into the bank, everything looks immaculate, just like it was in the film. And the electronic characters that they have there, genius. It looks really well done. But one of the best rides that includes kind of 3D meets roller coaster, and you'll never forget it. I promise you. The next ride is kind of like that. Uh, it's an older ride, but I believe, and it's not that long of a ride, but it's a ton of fun. Is the Revenge of the Mummy. We rode that 3 times. I will say that at one point the the hydraulics there's a room where you have like 6 statues together. The hydraulics were coming up on the six statues the first time we rode it, and then one time we rode it and like 2 of them popped up. So these are still machines. So but we rode that at night during the one of the parade nights. And when people are at the parade, if you've seen the parade, go ride the rides if you've got time. So um, I highly recommend Revenge of the Mummy. It's a great roller coaster. The next two are going to be more of the 3D live, the 3D action rides. These are going to be like some type of motion incorporated rides. If you have any type of motion sickness, this stuff, they might get to you. I know riding the Transformer ride, there's one part where you like go through this Transformer and you feel like you're actually like flying up and stuff like that. I mean, I will say it, if you get motion sickness, I believe it's called Dramamine. I would, make sure you take some motion sickness medicine with you. For me, it really didn't work. I mean, I still felt a little bit, um, I still got a little bit sick riding those. I will say that the one ride that really got me sick, and I had read about this through, just researching before we went to the park and whatnot. But the so in the Harry Potter world, this is at the um, uh, Islands of Adventure. There's I'm trying to find here the name of the. It's called the Forbidden Journey. Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. That ride really got me feeling sick. You're There's 4 people in a chair, and you're like looking at yourselves in a mirror, and then all of a sudden you like come up and you're laying on your back, and I will tell you, eyes got closed, and they had some air blowing on that thing, uh, and just was waiting for the longest 2.5 minutes of my life till we got off of it. But uh, if you get motion sickness, I recommend, there are probably going to be a couple rides that you may want to be wary of. I will say though, Escape from Gringotts has a little bit of that too, but not nearly as bad. And then Spider-Man does as well, but it's not bad at all. The last ride that I would also recommend is Transformers. I think that the Optimus Prime experience is, second to none. It's a lot of fun. The water rides, I recommend, if the weather's nicer, to ride all 3. I think there's a Jurassic Park ride. There's one in the there's a Jurassic Park water ride. There's a Popeye water ride, and then there's like it looks like a log flume. There's 3 water rides at the Islands of Adventure, and I recommend riding all 3. All 3 of them are great. But if there were a couple rides I would skip, uh, maybe the Men in Black Alien Attack was not. I don't think it was working the day we went on it, so we went on that. But if you had to skip a ride, we did not do that. We did not do the Fast and Furious. We did not go through the Simpsons section. Those were probably the 3 things that we did not do. I also recommend the dog show. Not the dog show. It's the animal show. That is at the original Universal Studios park. They feature something like 100, I think over 100 animals uh, in the show, and you just won't believe how skilled how they train these animals. Hats off to them. Uh, Universal Studios in general, they take the imagination, the unbelievable, and they make it real, and they do a great job. I think it was one of the best experiences we had as a family for vacation. I hope that my top 10 recommendations, I hope that this can help you out making a decision, travel into Florida. And if you want me to do another video, I can do a video on visiting Disney World as well. I've been to Disney like probably half a dozen times. Um, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, take a second, breathe, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.